This is Sports Talk on TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sports Talk here on TriadSportsCoverage.com. We are broadcasting live from Bibbs downtown in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I am Alec Hodges, and to my right is Mr. Mike Pettaway, and to my left is Ellen Richardson, and across the table is Mr. Donnie Baldridge.
Good evening, Mr. Hodges.
Good evening, afternoon, whatever you would like to call this.
It's a pleasure. This is your second week in a row?
This is 2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row you've been on the air.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, this is third.
Is it third?
It's the third. Yeah, you were here last week.
I was here last week. Yeah,
you were here the week before.
Yeah,
I counted right.
Right.
And I wasn't even here last week.
So you're a full-time employee now.
I would say so.
But you still don't get vacation pay.
Yeah, that's something we're going to have to work out in my contract, which is up for renewal.
It is. So what have you been doing since we last talked on the air?
Not much. Just fishing, working and fishing.
Working gets in the way of fishing sometimes.
Yeah, working does get in the way of fishing. I guess whenever I have a spare moment, I'll take my brother. We'll go out to the pond and throw our lines out. Hopefully I'll catch more than he does, or hopefully I'll catch something. As you know, we went fishing yesterday, and he caught 2 decent-sized bass, and I didn't catch anything.
There you go.
Don't you hate that? Especially when you're out there all day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're going to catch some racing tomorrow night. Tuesday night summer heat series in Salisbury, quarter midget style.
Yeah.
And my what do we call him? Lap by lap commentator.
Lap by lap. You said play by play. I was like lap by lap, turn by turn.
Anyway, he's Sam Hatfield's going to be back behind the microphone. He had to miss last week, and we had some threats from weather, so we did not broadcast. Because if you take this equipment and you set it out in a thunderstorm, you have problems.
I would say so, and that would cost you a pretty penny to get that either repaired or get a new one.
Or replaced. But we're going to be broadcasting from the quarter midget track in Salisbury tomorrow evening. We'll probably go on the air around 6 or 6:15, depending on how the schedule goes at the track and how everyone that's going to be involved, how they show up and get. I know you can't be there because you got to be the voice of the dash tomorrow.
I will be catching some baseball tomorrow.
Oh, you're finally returning.
No. I will be back behind the PA announcer mic as I think they take on. It's not the Carolina Mudcats. I think it's Frederick Keys. I'm not sure.
It's somebody
in the Carolina League.
But we also need to announce that we are going to be broadcasting the Salem College soccer games on our website. After they were a guest of ours, thanks to Miss Ellen Richardson, we started communicating back and forth, and Coach Callahan and I have exchanged emails, and we're going to show up on their first game, which is August 29th, on a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. They take on Wake Tech at their home field here in Winston-Salem. So
Very cool.
That's going to be fun to actually broadcast the soccer game. Is going to be really interesting.
Very cool.
And we're going to do hopefully all their home games. And we're going to possibly move into doing some of their volleyball and basketball games and softball in the spring. So
well, pat on the back for me there. But, sometimes I do something right.
it's gonna be fun to watch college athletes and be able to and you'll be doing some play-by-play in the basketball games for them. We will also do the basketball season for Winston-Salem Christian School, and I understand that they're playing in some summer tournaments. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not mistaken, they're undefeated.
Wow.
And Coach McKinney has gathered some great basketball players. And I know from past experience, Coach McKinney's middle name is defense. And if you don't play, if you don't play defense, you don't play on a team. And I can imagine, I haven't seen him play yet, but I can imagine that, he's a very disciplinary coach, very strict, and he knows how to get the best out of young folks, and I'm sure he's molding that team into a team. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be fun for us to cover some of those games. So we'll be looking forward to that. And something's happened to my earphones, but
We're experiencing. There it goes.
There we go.
We're experiencing technical difficulties.
So, Miss Ellen, what do you have to offer to this round table or square table or rectangular table discussion tonight?
Well, of course, I was back at the Madhouse on Saturday after a brief hiatus, going out of town for just a little bit. But I made sure I got back in time for a little racing. And not quite as dramatic this week as the prior week. And for those of you who didn't think they would see Burt Myers, let me just say just a little something. He showed up on Saturday. Although there was a lot of rumors, a lot of talk of him not showing up this past Saturday after a little bit of a penalty. Yeah, he was there. But let me just say, Tim Brown was missing this Saturday, and I think he's going to hold true to his word. So, I mean, I got to respect that. Just because I got to say I'm not sure that I felt it was his fault, but, it's a little bit of a challenge there to decide who was at fault the Saturday before. But this was a really good Saturday of racing, and I want to give a shout-out to Dean Ward, Bibbs' own Dean Ward, who took home another checkered flag on Saturday. It was a pretty awesome race.
Do you know if there's an appeal process like they have at the upper levels in NASCAR?
Unfortunately, in a sense, yes, they could appeal, but in a short track, and you've got people from that particular short track who sit on the actual appeals panel, it's probably not going to happen.
Because my personal opinion is it was too severe of a penalty for what happened.
It was a bit of a severe penalty. I was actually surprised at the penalty given. I really felt that, maybe if they just did, I figured the penalty was going to come from the track itself. Did I think it was going to come from NASCAR? No, because, obviously this kind of stuff happens at the stadium all the time, so why are we all of a sudden doing penalties?
Did you notice any of the other drivers, the lesser-known names? Because we had Darren Cotner on when that press release came out.
Right.
And he was astounded, these are two biggest names that race at Bowman Gray. And all of a sudden you give them almost a death penalty.
I don't know if I get death penalty, but yes, you did give him a hard
Well, it must be
blow.
the death penalty. Tim's not racing anymore.
I think Tim's taking it a little far, but I understand where he's coming from. And I got to give him a shout out to the fact that he's doing what he's doing and he's sticking to it. We hear these drivers say all the time that they're angry, that they're frustrated, and they're not going to come back. And, they're saying this on Monday, and they turn around on Saturday and show up. And I just don't think that them continuing to do that is going to make any changes. The only way you're going to see any of these kinds of changes that some of these drivers want to see is to actually stand up and protest. And in a sense, that's what he's doing. And, do I feel he's a big name? Yes. Do I feel that he's going to affect the fan base there or affect the number of people in the stands? No, I'm sorry, I don't. And he didn't Saturday. That place was packed. And it was a great race, and people were still shouting and standing up, and it was still a wild night. And let me say, although everybody really follows, yes, they follow the modified series, but everybody that's in those stands, they don't just follow the modifieds. I myself follow every single race. And everybody that's out there does the same. Most of the noise you heard Saturday night didn't come from the modifieds. It came from the sportsman race. That was a very dramatic race. That finish was one of the best finishes I've seen this season. Did it make some people upset? Yeah. Did anybody get penalized after a similar situation? No. So that's where I feel there are some things lacking there, and if they're going to make one decision to penalize drivers for one thing, when other series go out and do it, or other drivers who have done it in the past, namely Burt being involved with another driver in the modified series in a similar situation, you've got to go the same route every time. You've got to be consistent. If you're not going to be consistent, not sure these penalties are the right way to go.
And that's something that even the upper levels face too when they hand out penalties.
Right.
If it's Jimmy Johnson or Josh Wise, you got to be consistent.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who the drivers are. Did they do it? In a sense, do I feel they did it for a different reason? It's hard to say because NASCAR ultimately made the decision. If they took it to NASCAR every time, there probably would be more penalties. But for some reason, they decided this time we're going to take it to NASCAR. And I don't know if it's because some of it made some national headlines or if it's just, in this case, we don't know where to go and it's escalating and it's getting worse, so now we're going to take it to NASCAR. But if you're going to do it now, you should have done it then. And if you're going to do it now, you're going to have to keep doing it. So what's going to happen as far as the modified series and the points, I'm not sure. I do foresee, unfortunately, that, Tim and Burt, of course, may not win the championship, which will make it really interesting. No offense, guys. I know you're great drivers, but give somebody else a chance. Goodness gracious. But at the same time, we may see another Myers brother on top of the points.
So this is really something that's made for TV.
It really is.
It really is.
We got tweeted that Saturday night as I was tweeting out. People are tweeting back at me. I want to be able to watch this on TV. So, that's a consensus, Mike. But I think it might be a good thing and it might be a bad thing.
We're going to change gears.
Oh, absolutely. We got a great show
pun
tonight.
intended.
I'm so excited about tonight. It's going to be awesome.
We've covered about every sport, I guess, that you can imagine around here. And I was on the way to cover a softball game this past summer with a gentleman from Glen High School. We drove from here to UNC Charlotte, and there's a lot of time to bond when you're in the car like that.
Right.
He's a part of the Three Amigos.
But he's
That's
actually
right.
part of the broadcasting staff here at where are we at? Tri Sports Coverage?
Yeah, I would say.
Where are we? Who are we?
Who are we?
But he started sharing some stories about his son and what his son had been doing in high school and all up, and this gentleman can tell stories, and sometimes you got to make sure that he's not pulling your leg. So
Kind of like the whole down the middle thing.
yeah, and of course we're talking about Dale Weevil, but one thing led to another, and the result of all that was I was able to get a guest tonight. It is Dale's son, Josh Weevil. And what makes this a unique show, and Ellen's been putting stuff on social media about this, he was a bull rider in high school. You got your football players, your soccer players, your baseball players. Well, Josh Weevil decided, I'm going to be a bull rider. And to me, that is so interesting.
Yes.
And besides being unique.
Not to mention some of the guys he's rode against. Let me tell you, I've already been talking to him a little bit before the show. He's got some great stories, so you guys make sure you tune in because this is going to be awesome.
The other day, I was on the phone with Josh and Dale, and they were just telling me stuff, and I was laughing because, they're both still walking, and Josh is still here.
It amazes me from the stories he's told that he is still walking, I'll be honest with you.
So we're going to take a short commercial break to pay Donnie's salary. And when we come back, we're going to have Mr. Josh Weevil on our show, live and in person. No bull. He's going to be here.
Yeah, we did no bull, and we didn't bring a bull in the restaurant either. There's no bull in the barbecue tonight.
Hi, this is Miranda McKinney, Athletic Director at Winston-Salem Christian School, and you're listening to TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Hey, it's Biggie, and I'm here with the 2013 Barbecue Pitmasters Alabama champions, Ricky Wayne and Pig Daddy of Bibbs Downtown. Gentlemen, what's it like being reality stars?
Hey, it's almost as good as Bibbs Ribs, baby.
We're not Eastern or Western. We're Western.
I'll tell you one thing, I never trust a skinny cook, and these guys got it going on.
Hey, you can bring your family in, or if you like Biggie, come on in on Friday and get your Bibbs fixed.
It's barbecue with a downtown vibe.
They've got dine-in, takeout, catering, and a private event space. Be sure to follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and you can always check them out at BibbsDowntown.com.
And we are back here with Mr. Josh Weevil, who is a bull rider.
He's a fireman now.
He's a fireman now.
Their trailer just backed up into the restaurant.
Y'all are looking around trying to find him.
Josh, welcome to the show, and thanks for coming down here.
Thank y'all for having me.
I know your dad. I've been around Glen High School and covering. He's actually done some broadcast. He kind of likes broadcasting too. He gets in these basketball games and
He likes to talk a lot.
Well, but he does pretty good. I won't tell him that, but he does pretty good at it. I think he has a fan base out there he doesn't know about. But he did tell me he was not going to say anything tonight. He's sitting across the table from us. But first, I want to, being a bull rider, and I've been watching the PBR on TV lately because on CBS Sports Spectacular they show all and just to see those humongous animals and these little tiny guys get up there with the rope.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever gave you the idea that I want to be in rodeo and be a bull rider?
Lack of brains. Me and the family were actually at Oak Ridge horse show. I was 13 or something like that at the time, and they had this rodeo going on. And the bulls came up, and I looked at Dad and I said, I got to find a way to get on one of them suckers.
Oh, my.
And I stumbled across Jerome Davis. He was over there selling some stuff, and he was actually the one putting the bull riding on. And I just asked him, what do I do? He said, you come to my bull riding school, we'll get you where you need to be. And it was downhill from there.
Now, you're a pretty good-sized young man. Were you big at 13, too, or you were?
At 13, I was probably 5'8", 5'9".
So, okay.
Probably around 160 pounds.
So do you remember the first time you sat on a bull and they let it go?
It was kind of like a blur.
Really?
Yeah. The only thing I remember about that ride is the bells that you put on your
The
bull
bulls.
rope.
Mm-hmm.
I heard them ding, and it was over.
So you didn't get an 8-second ride on the first time?
No, sir.
Is that, when you hit the ground, is it kind of wake you up or does it put you to sleep, I guess?
Well, you hit the ground, and you're like, okay, does it hurt yet? And then it finally hits you. Okay, this is a little sore. It's time to get up and move.
Because what scares me is when the bull is going around 360s and you're on the ground, you're at his mercy.
Absolutely.
Because he can step anywhere on you.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you've been maybe stepped on a couple times.
More times than I can count.
I think the comment your dad made was that while you were bull riding, you got to know more hospitals than you did bull riders.
I can't tell you how many hospitals I've been to.
Really?
Oh yeah, it's. I'm pretty sure I've been to one in every state on the East Coast.
I gotta ask, when you hit the ground and you're laying there, it's just like, do you have a sense of urgency to get up, and because the bull's coming at you, or either is around you, or are you just like, I don't want to get up?
Well, you have an urgency to find out where that bull is. Once you see him, you can tell which way he's going. If he's looking at you, it's time to get out of the situation.
So what was your first competition? Where was that at? In high school rodeo?
Oh, gosh. It was in Robbins, North Carolina, for the North Carolina High School Rodeo Association. Golly, that was such a long time ago. I know I didn't make my ride. I was fresh in on that one, but it's just a different world.
So the high school has a rodeo association like all the other sports where there's...
It's through the state. The schools themselves don't really have anything to do with it, but the association states that if you don't keep a 3.0 average, you can't ride. If you get suspended for any reason, you're suspended from riding bulls. And riding bulls is not a sport that you just go and do. I mean, it's something you live and breathe, and you want to do it. So it encourages you to do your best in school and in the arena. So,
and you traveled a lot. Family traveled different places. What was the furthest from North Carolina you went for?
Perry, Georgia.
Georgia.
I don't remember this trip, but I remember stories from this trip.
Was that the one that you got hurt pretty good?
Yeah. I made the ultimate mistake of looking at a camera crew saying, "I'll see y'all when I win this bull riding." And bull riding is not a sport to get cocky in because you will get knocked on your knees in a hurry.
So the bull won that one.
The bull won. The last thing I remember is calling for the gate, and I got pictures of it at the house. But he come around and I was wearing a face mask at the time, and he caught me right in the face mask and lacerated my eye, above my eye, and
wow,
I was out. They shipped me all the way to Macon, Georgia, to their trauma unit. So, and that's where I woke up.
So during all these horrendous injuries, how did your mom and dad? Did they survive all that and be able to stand there before you wake up and know you're there?
Well, you know my dad. My dad was in the fire service, and he knows a little bit about the medical. So he's the kind, if you can get up, he's going to pat you on the back and say, keep on going. Mm-hmm. Mom's the one you go to get some sympathy.
You mean Dale didn't give you much sympathy, huh?
No, let me tell you about this one. I can't remember where we was riding, but I come off and this bull stepped on my ankle. And when I got up to take a step, my leg actually went down beside my foot. So it just tore the ligaments and all that good stuff out of it. And there was 400 bales of hay to get up the next day. And guess who said, let's go pick up some hay, son?
But see, he did that because he loved you.
He did.
See, he was building a character, and and now you followed his footsteps to the fire station. You're a fireman, so
Yes, sir.
the apple doesn't fall too far from a tree, does it?
No, it sure don't. But in doing that, like you said, it teaches you a lot. It teaches that you just can't lay down. You got to get up and keep on going.
Now, when you were doing your high school riding, I suppose there were high school kids from all over, same age as you are.
Absolutely.
Do you know of any of those that have gone on and survived the injuries and became a pro rodeo bull rider?
Oh, yeah. One of them is Brian Canner. He's actually on tour. I guess he's back on tour. He was hurt for a while, but I rode with Brian Canner for a while, and J.B. Mooney, who is now, he's a 2013 world champion bull rider. Wow. So, yeah, I know a couple of them guys. Now,
most sports, there's kind of a togetherness, a family atmosphere where when you travel together, like in racing, for example, where these guys travel all the time, you can't afford to really hold any kind of grudges because that is your family for all those weeks you're traveling.
Absolutely.
So how did you combat that? I mean, and I know you all cheered for each other. You wanted to win, but you also didn't want anybody to get hurt.
Absolutely. When we step out there, like you said, it's a brotherhood, if you will. We're competing against the bulls. If this guy over here beats me out, so be it. As long as we both give it our heart, we're good with it. And there's an old saying, only bull riders can mess with bull riders. Anybody else, you're going to get them all.
Oh, wow.
Now, just out of curiosity, and bull riders, I've kind of gotten the idea that you guys really have to have either no sense at all, or you guys really know how to ride a bull. What's your feeling whenever you're sitting on that bull before they open the gate?
Oh man, it's one of the best feelings ever when you're talking to an adrenaline junkie. It's just a different world. You put your knees on this animal that obviously doesn't want you there, and you get cinched down and call for the gate, and it's awesome. It's being completely out of control and matching him step for step and riding him jump for jump. I've been skydiving, and that's the closest I can get to what I felt riding bulls.
Wow. Obviously, there's a technique to bull riding, but you went to the bull riding school.
Absolutely.
And let me ask you that you wrap one hand, and the other hand has got to remain free, right?
Absolutely. You can't touch you or the bull, or you're disqualified.
Now, are there certain, I guess you call them moves you can make on the bull to get higher scores? I mean, some bulls will go absolutely crazy.
Oh, yeah.
You ever gotten a lazy one where it's like, aren't you going to do anything, And
I had a bull stop with me in the middle of the ride. He just stopped. And I'm sitting there kicking him with my spurs, trying to get him to do something. He wasn't moving. He was just done.
And that was probably a bad score from the judges. No action.
It was. I think that score was like a 60-something.
Now, the bulls travel with the circuit, is that right?
Absolutely. And just to go along with that, we were at a rodeo, and I had another rodeo that I could have went to later on that evening and didn't think I was going to make it. And the stock contractor said, well, I'm hauling bulls down there. Just jump in the truck with me. So I called the guy that's putting on the bull riding down the road, said I'll be there, and I rode with the bulls to the bull riding.
Now, obviously, just like people, bulls have their own their own personality, their own way of doing things. Is it the luck of a draw is who you get to ride?
Absolutely.
And everybody knows, I hope I don't get so-and-so, or I want to get so-and-so.
Oh, absolutely. There's bulls that are just fun to ride, and there's bulls that are just, you dread getting them because you're going to have to work your tail off. And at the end of the day, it's still fun. But.
Now, would you prefer to have one that spins round and round, or one that goes...
Oh, absolutely. Come out and spin back. Those are the ones you want. Those are the ones that's going to get you more points. And you can open up and start spurring on them.
I know it's interesting on TV to watch, and you mentioned some of the names that I've actually seen on TV that, I mean, you can tell. I mean, it's a very short, 8 seconds is the max. Mm-hmm. And it's not like a baseball game where you got 7 or 9 innings or whatever to get your stuff. You go out there, you got to be ready when that gate opens.
That's it.
And before you can almost take a breath, the buzzer goes off, and you're either laying on the ground saying, oh, my gosh, or you're excited.
Now, I will say this, 8 seconds, Doesn't seem that long here, but you strap onto a bull, it is a lifetime.
Seems like forever. Wow. I don't know if I could. I wouldn't get near a bull.
I wouldn't either. You said you've been in and out of hospitals. How many concussions have you actually had?
Oh, wow. I'm going to say upwards of 20, 25.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
There was, I used to ride in King quite a bit, and there was this one bull. His name was Smoke. And he was always fun to get on, but every single time I got on this sucker, he'd break my nose. And the first 2 times it knocked me off. I just couldn't hang on. And the third time I got on him, I slid up, and Dad always spotted me. And Jerome Davis's daddy announced that rodeo, and I just slid up and said, he's going to break it again, but let's go. And sure enough, he pulled me down, broke my nose. And on that one, he sat me back up, and I rode, finished the ride. But every single time I got on that sucker.
Wow. Now, for a young kid out there that maybe is, in the junior rodeo, but they want to be a bull rider, besides saying no, don't do it, what advice would you give a young teenager who that's what he wants to be as a bull rider, he or she? Study it. Stay healthy and work out. I mean, because it looks like it's like a lot of sports you see. You don't think there's an athlete involved, but you got to be in shape. You got to know what you're doing. And to me, it's not everybody obviously can be a bull rider. Right? Does it help to be big? Is that? No, that's actually a bad thing. Is it really? If you look at most of your bull riders, they're normally like 5'4", 5'5", maybe 120 pounds. Mm-hmm. Their center of gravity is a lot better. Me being a taller and a bigger guy, it was actually a lot harder. And there's an old saying, if you lose your feet, you lose your seat. Well, when you got 4 foot of leg. Yeah, I can see. I had a question. I forgot what it was.
My question is, just how do you get on a bull every time after you've been knocked out? How do you get back up? What's your motivation? It's the love for the sport. Not everybody can do it, and you just love it. And the adrenaline dump is outrageous. It is awesome. And when you get a full ride, I'm sure the people go crazy in the stands. That's got to pump you right up. Oh, it does. It does. You step off and the fans go wild, and you throw your hat. That's a good feeling. Oh yeah, that's a good feeling. Of course, I think your dad takes credit for the full rides. I think he steps in there and tries to. Did he ever get on the bull? He has. He got on one. I couldn't make it, and I was called in for it, and he said, "Well, somebody's gonna get on that bull." And I walked in the door as he came off. Oh man! They said he actually made a pretty good ride for the length of time he was on there. I don't remember how long he was on there, but so that's what happened to Dale. Yeah. That's why he's the way he is. Wow. Well, let's take another short break. We'll come back with some more questions. I want to ask you about some of your injuries and ask you what you'd be doing if you weren't injured. All right.
Hey, this is Leonard Burton, varsity basketball player from Winston-Salem Christian School. You're listening to TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Today, community means more than the place you live. It's groups of people connected by shared interests and similar experiences. Your yoga class, your work colleagues, your book club. With all the communities in your life, shouldn't there be one for your financial life? We're First Community, financial experts here to work with you on your personal, business, investments, and insurance needs. That's the power of community.
And we're back here with Josh Weevil, son of down the middle Dale Weevil, here at Bibbs Downtown. The infamous assistant softball and assistant golf coach for the Glen Lady Cat program up in Kayville. Up by the water tower. By the water, next to the Jackson Stanley Stadium, soon to be football stadium named after Marty Stanley. Now, Josh, I know some of the conversations I've had with your dad, and you talk about all these injuries, and
I think there was one opportunity you had to go to Mexico with J.B. Mooney was going to go with you, and that might have, no telling what it would have done to your career, but all of a sudden you got hurt again. Mm-hmm. What happened on that?
Well, like you said, we were supposed to go to Mexico, and he wound up lacerating his liver, and I had to have a knee surgery. So that didn't happen.
So that was kind of, I guess, it wasn't meant to be, I guess.
Wasn't meant to be, I guess.
And then you've had a shoulder problem.
Yeah, my shoulder has been dislocated upwards of 15 times or more. Had a reconstructive surgery on it, and come back and was riding good, and the fourth bull back stepped right in the middle of it. Tore it up.
Everything that was fixed, the unfixed for
it
you.
Is now back the way it was.
So if you had been able not to have all these injuries, did you see yourself as a professional bull rider eventually?
Well, I'd like to think so. Like I said, I'd like to think so. I got a couple buddies that made it, and I don't know. That's a tough one to answer. You never know.
I mean, obviously, in that sport, you have to perform. I mean, it's just performance. If you don't do it, there's no need to be out there.
Absolutely. That's sport that you can be on top one day, and then tomorrow you're no longer here.
Now, do some of these bull riders, is there like a magical age where you say, I can't do it anymore?
They say that 15 years is about all you can handle. I made it about halfway and had to give it up, but I don't know that there was an age. There was a bull rider, I can't remember his last name. His name was Gary. They called him Grandpa, and he was in his 40s.
Still riding the bulls?
Still riding the PBR. So.
Wow. So do you attend many rodeos now or bull riding events?
I don't. And if they told you you're not allowed to fish no more, you don't want to go watch somebody fish all the time.
Right. So it kind of, yeah.
I'll keep up every once in a while, see where my buddies are at and how they're doing, but it gets hard to watch it sometimes.
Did you ever have any interest in any other sports? I mean,
Well, I grew up playing baseball, basketball, and this, that, and football. And the funny thing is, I hurt my wrist in football. I looked at Dad and said, "The heck with this. That hurt too much." And it was like 3 or 4 years later. "Hey, you want to ride bulls?" "Yeah, you go right ahead, son."
So you couldn't take a little injury in football, but you can get your brains beat out on the bull, and everything's fine.
Hey,
but it's that adrenaline rush you get with bull riding that a football game won't give you.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now, you said you were 13 whenever you were at that.
I was 13 when I started, and it was actually Father's Day weekend.
What a great Father's Day present. Well,
so you currently you're a fireman.
I'm a fireman for the city of Lexington.
Lexington Farm, and then don't you also do some volunteer fireman work too? Or?
I am a volunteer at Hornytown.
So do you like it? Is there any kind of adrenaline rush with that? Maybe compares a little bit to the bull riding, not nowhere near the adrenaline rush, but
it's a little more controlled. But there is definitely an adrenaline when you step on the truck and go blazing down the middle of the road and there's a house fire somewhere or a big old wreck.
So you got to know what to do right away when you get there.
That's it.
I guess every scene is different.
Every scene is absolutely
different. And you got
to
be able to react instantaneously and
adapt and overcome. That is the motto.
The fact that your dad was a fireman, did it have anything to do with you wanting to be a fireman?
Absolutely. As far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a fireman. So I'm finally getting to live that dream.
And is it as much fun as you? I mean, I know it's your job,
right?
But it's probably something you enjoy doing.
Oh, absolutely. I wake up on the days I got to go to work, loving it.
I know a lot of people that dread going to work, and it makes it that much longer. But somebody that loves their job, which you apparently do. Now, the being the fireman and being in your bull riding experience, you mentioned you jumped out of an airplane.
Yes, sir.
And your dad told me about that you went and jumped out of an airplane. So that, to me, there's something about Josh Weevil that says no fear. I mean, you can ride a bull, you go fight fires. I'm just going to go up here what is it, 8,000, 9,000 feet, whatever it was?
13,500.
And just take a walk out and jump out. And I mean, that's
13,500.
Did that kind of? You said it really gave you quite a rush.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't say the lack of fear. It's just the lack of caring about fear. So, but it's a different world up there. You step out and there's nothing.
But again, there was preparation. There was someone there with you.
Yeah, I went tandem. There's a captain at my volunteer department. He is actually certified to jump on his own, but it's another world.
Oh my goodness!
Did you land close to where you're supposed to?
Yeah, because I wasn't at the toggles.
Okay,
I wasn't controlling
you
it.
were used as a passenger. Right?
I was a passenger. If I'd have been, I'd have wound. We was at Rayford is where we were at. If I'd have been at the controls, we'd have wound up in. There ain't no telling where we'd have wound up.
Probably Kernersville.
Yeah. I think I see my house.
So, bull riding has been obviously a part of your life and your family's life, and I'm sure you got a lot of great memories just of the family time.
Absolutely.
But you talk about all the injuries and spending time in the hospital. That must now that you look back and you guys are able to look back and laugh at all this stuff. But I'm sure at the time it was pretty stressful.
It wasn't for me. I was just living life. Mom's the one that was freaking out all the time. And she was in the stands.
But it was, like you say, for you, it was like doing what you love. So
that's it.
It was just part of the game. You get hurt.
That's it. You get hurt, and if you can get up, get up. If you can't, you probably sleeping.
Now, that brings up a point when I watch a lot of high school sports, no matter if it's whatever sport it is, and a guy or gal gets a little boo-boo on their knee, and all of a sudden the world has to stop.
Mm-hmm.
You ever kind of chuckle and see when you watch some of these athletes who they got a hangnail and you got to call timeout?
Oh yeah. I think I was watching. I can't remember what sport it was, but the guy got a hangnail, and
it's probably baseball. It's probably pitcher.
And
biggest babies on the field.
It just wasn't working.
Because of course, in high school there's always first responders when there's any kind, which is that's what it should be.
Right.
But when you guys fall out there, who's the first person that comes to you? Is it a medical person or what they call it? They still have the rodeo clowns that kind of draw the bulls away from you?
Well, they're bullfighters. The clown, he's there for purely entertainment for the crowd. The bullfighters, they'll do what they can to get the bull off of you. And I know quite a few of them that'll take a hit for you, and I know quite a few that's taking a hit for me. But as far as the people coming out to help you, they normally have an ambulance on site or some type of medical personnel to get you out.
Now, bull riding obviously is one part of when you go to a rodeo.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever participate in any other type of event at a rodeo besides the bull riding?
I thought about getting into some saddle bronc or some bareback bronc, and I got to watching it, and that's just a long way to hit the ground.
Too dangerous?
Well, on them bareback broncs, they lay back and their neck gets all popped and all that stuff. I already got bad neck problems. I ain't trying to get more.
So tell us your secret to stay up for 8 seconds. What do you want to do to maintain that ride for 8 seconds?
Hold on for dear life.
Well, yes and no. You got to move. Get a good hold with your feet and squeeze with your knees and stay in front of your bull rope. And
now you'll see sometime where a guy's legs go straight out the way the bull is bucking, and is that get him show points? He's up there and his feet are up in the air, and then he comes back down, or are some judges more lenient or different in how they look at a bull ride?
I don't know. I haven't really been on the judging side much, but when your feet come up and it's kind of like you're out of control. They want to see you be in control. So that the prettier you make it look, the better the score is going to be.
So if your feet or your legs remain contact to the side of the bull and your arm is waving, that's...
Right. And the one thing with your feet, anyways, that'll get you extra points is if the bull's spinning and you bring that outside leg out and just start, it's called spurring. You start spurring a bull, that'll get you some more points.
And that gets the bull angrier too, I'm sure, when you're which is what you want to do.
Yeah, not really. The bulls that you see on TV, I mean, there's a few out there that want to get you, but most of them, that's in their blood. They know what they're doing. They know that they're there for a purpose.
Now, you guys ever talk to the bulls, like, before the show starts, and kind of rub their nose or anything? And
before the show starts, no. But now there was one. I got knocked out, and I mean I was out, and I kind of woke up and I was still out of it, and I kept asking Dad if he'd pack my stuff up for me because I was in no shape to do anything like that. And he said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And make a long story short, I said, "What happened?" He said, "That bull over laid you out." I said, "Which one?" And he pointed at him. I hobbled over there and said, "Yeah, I remember him." To this day, I do not remember that at all.
So you were knocked in La La Land.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Now, I'm sure you've gotten this from your mom, but has your dad ever said, son, you need to think about something else?
No. No. When I finally broke the news to him that I think I was going to hang the Spurs up, I think he was more disappointed than I was. But, no, not on getting hurt. Like I said, that just kind of came with the territory.
So do you mentioned a few names that you've ridden with over the years, and you said you kind of follow a little bit and see how they're doing, some of your buddies. You mentioned J.B. Mooney, which that's a big name in bull riding.
Oh, absolutely.
Even I knew who that was. I'm not a bull rider. But you mentioned King. Mm-hmm. Now, is there still a rodeo or bull riding up at King?
There is a bull riding in King still.
And
there he is.
Some of the local riders come up there.
Yeah, a lot of you local guys will come up there. There's actually a lot more bull ridings around these parts than what people know about. It's not too hard to find one.
And it's obviously big crowds come. If you have a following, I'm sure bull riding is a unique sport, and I'm sure once you get a following, it's just like going to Bowman Gray. everybody, they're loyal, and and they get real excited.
Riding for a long period of time, you'll start remembering your fans. They like it much as we do. So.
Really? Now, do you sell T-shirts and autographs and all that kind of stuff like you do at racetracks? Or
we don't have T-shirts, but to tell you about this autograph deal, I got laid out again, and I was in the hospital, and I was in the ER, and a lady said, "Is there a bull rider beside me?" And she was just freaking out because a bull rider was there. And here I am, like 16, a nobody. And they said, "Son, you're going to have to give this guy an autograph." And I'm in the hospital. So before I got treated, I had to sign an autograph.
Oh, my gosh. And she had no idea who you were probably, but you were a bull rider.
She had no idea. And to this day, she probably don't even know who I am.
Who knows where that lady ended up. That's a good... Now, there's another story that you told about some, was it some chaps that you got, or what was something that was one of the big name bull riders?
Yeah, we were at Jerome Davis's place, and it was his He Paid Your Fees event. And I draw this bull named Radical. Well, the weekend before in the PBR event, he scored a 92. So I got a ranked bull. And I come out, and he winds up stepping on my head, and this, that, and another. And the way that weekend goes, everybody competes for one buckle out of all events. And here I am just competing from bull riding. And we got people that's in 4 and 5 different events. And one thing led to another. And Tiffany said it wasn't right. And the bull riders decided to allow me a chance to get some chaps. And Lane Frost actually died 3 days before I was born and was buried on my birthday, actually. And his parents, Clyde and Elsie Frost, presented those chaps to me.
Wow.
So that was
we have a question from our illustrious producer. What was the best bull name you've run across? A name
best bull name?
Yeah, a name for a bull.
Body Bag.
Body bag?
Body Bag. Well, there's two spectrums. There's two spectrums here. You know, if you get bucked off of Body Bag, okay. And there's also, I can't remember that bull's name. It was something like Fluffy. If you get bucked off a Fluffy and call home and tell them you got bucked off a Fluffy, you just want to tuck your tail and run.
Well, if you get bucked off a body bag, it's like the bull's dead. You couldn't ride him any better than that?
Well, yeah.
Wow.
It's a lose-lose scenario with Fluffy. You call home, hey, I rode Fluffy for 8 seconds, got a pretty high score. Whoop-de-doo.
So would you encourage, if you had a family with young sons, would you encourage them to do bull riding if they set up?
If it was their decision, absolutely.
And you're going to be able to be as calm and collected as your dad was?
No. As far as them getting hurt, probably. But I would be jumping up and down, rooting. I mean, he was rooting, but he was also in the back pen, so he couldn't act like a fool.
So when you're out there going round and round, do you happen to catch a glimpse of your mom in the stands?
No.
You didn't? It was everything oblivious around you?
Everything is oblivious. As loud as the bull ridings get, you'd be surprised at how quiet riding is. I remember hearing them, the bulls blow and snot and stuff like that, but it's just different. I don't know how to explain it other than it's just different.
Now, when you're climbing on that bull in the chute and you're tying up your rope and everything, and he's going crazy already, he's already almost kicked the gate down, is that you're thinking, boy, this is going to be fun?
Absolutely. When I was coming up, that's all we had was bulls that was acting up in the chutes and jumping up and this, that, and other. So I got used to it before I went open pro. And when I got to pro, they just stood there. And I'm thinking, what is this bull doing? So I had to readjust to that. But I loved getting on them ones that wanted to jump up out of the chutes. It kept me on my toes and made for a good show.
So when the first thing they do when they get opens is they come off all fours. Mm-hmm. That's probably, you're in for a ride.
That's it. It's the point of no return.
Now, how far did you said you were a pro rider?
Open pro,
pro. So you were part of you won money at bull riding.
Absolutely.
As a pro. So,
absolutely.
So you were on the path to be a J.B. Mooney.
Well, there again, I'd like to think so.
But how do some of these guys not get all these injuries? It's just luck? I mean, they all fall the same way, and they probably all fall just as hard as you ever did.
Yeah. Everybody's body just acts different, and it reacts different. So some people are fortunate enough not to get too awful bad, and some of them, they get it bad.
What would you say was the worst injury that you were actually aware of? Not that you weren't knocked out, but something that you knew that, oh my gosh, this is serious.
We were in Ararat, Virginia, at a practice pen. Like I said, I'm a bigger guy. The smaller bulls was my trouble. I couldn't ride a small bull, so I got on this bull. He was probably 1,200 pounds, not too big. And
that's small.
I'll tell you what the biggest one here is in a minute. But I come out on this sucker, and I get hung up. The way the rope works, when your hand rolls over, your fingers are in between your rope and the bull. So you can't open your hand. And I got hung up. And they said I got stepped on like 25 or 30 times. It ripped my jeans plumb off of me. From the waist down, I was black and blue. And about the fourth time around, they said I just let out a yell, get this sucker off of me. And 24 x-rays later, it took me an hour and a half to walk 400 feet to get in the car.
Gosh.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. So that was pretty tough. Huh?
Yeah, that one hurt.
Now, you showed how you lay your palm up when you wrap the rope around.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, obviously, if you get your hand turned, you're not going to break loose.
Right. You stick your hand in the rope and you come over and go behind your hand. And you hit it and lock it in. And if you come off away from your hand, for me it'd be the right side, and your hand rolls over, the only way you're going to get your hand out is to grab your tail and to pull it. That's a hard thing to do when
Because I've
He's
seen
jerking you around.
I've seen bull riders get hung, and they're just like free floating around and around, so somebody can get that rope and loosen it up.
Absolutely.
And that just about pulls your arm out of your socket, probably.
Yeah, and surprisingly, my trouble shoulder was my free arm.
That's the one that gave you the trouble, the one that was.
Oh wow,
sure was.
Maybe you spend too much time waving at the girls up there.
No.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you what different levels, with other sports you have, like, different divisions, that are lower than, what you would call the PBR. What are different levels?
Oh, wow. For the most part, people start out on sheep at like age 4. And then they work their way up to steers. And steers and amateur bulls. And then you go to your open pro. And then you start getting into the big bulls. And then the PBR has like 5 different levels. And I couldn't begin to tell you what all they are now. The Built for Tough series is as high as they got, and that's on TV. They have like 2 or 3 below it that you have to compete in, and once you become in the top 5 of it, you get bumped up to the next level, and you get in the top 5 of it and keep going. And I think it's like every 5 weeks. The bottom 5 in the Built for Tough series will swap with the top 5 in the other series, and that's how they get on TV.
So those lower series, do they pay less money and do you still have the same? Do they perform at the same event that the top tier performs at?
It's a different event. It's a little bit less money, but the bulls are, for the most part, equal. But yeah, it's a little bit different event.
So the bulls travel with the cowboys.
Absolutely.
And there's certain individuals that breed the bulls just for rodeo and bull riding. Who are some of the ones who can bring really good bulls to the rodeo?
Well, there's actually one here local in Winston, Tom Teague.
Okay.
He, if I'm not mistaken, he owned Little Yellow Jacket, which is a 3-time world champion bull. That's $3 million to the owner.
So the bull it scores points too.
He is an athlete just like the guys. So he gets, the way the score works is you got 4 judges, and you got 25 points for the bull, 25 points for the rider, and all 4 accumulate your score.
Mm-hmm. So they judge how the bull
does,
as far as being active and making it difficult for you as a rider.
Absolutely.
So that pumps up his point, and so that's why these owners they have an incentive to produce the mean bulls, I guess you'd say, because that's going to put money in their pocket.
Absolutely.
Wow. And $3 million for having the top.
He won Buck and Bull of the Year 3 times. That is $3 million.
That's almost more than school teachers make. Is that right, Dale? Wow. A lot more. So, with your injuries, you've kind of put bull riding as a thing of the past.
Yeah, I've hung up the spurs. Decided to chase the fire service.
Do you ever think back, boy, I wish this hadn't happened, this would have happened, I'd have been doing this?
Absolutely. All the time. There's a guy at work, actually, that's involved in some rodeo, and we get to talking about it, and you just miss it. And, you kind of can't go back to it because your body won't allow you, but you miss it. You never really get over it.
So how many years did you actually ride a bull? You started when you were 13.
And I quit when I was 20 or 21. So it was about 7.5, 8 years.
And you went to Glenn High School?
I went to Glenn High
Graduated
School.
in 08?
Yes, sir.
And was your dad coaching there at that time?
He was not coaching. He was doing some teaching there from time to time. So that cut out some of my troublemaking.
So you had to be on the straight and narrow when your dad was around. Right?
Yeah.
I know he's a pretty tough guy. I know that. He gets pretty wound up sometimes.
No cutting class going to Burger King or anything like that.
No. Oh, no.
Wow. Well, I want to say thank you for coming down here. You've been these stories are really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And when your dad started telling me about it back in June, I was thinking, wow, that's something that people ought to hear, because you don't run into a bull rider every day on the street.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And to know some of the ins and outs of what they do and how it all transpires. Because when you watch them on TV, you see a limited version of what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
And you never hear the stories about the dislocated shoulders and the smashed elbows and the broken ankles and all this kind of stuff. But I got to say that I admire you for doing that. I mean, that had to take a lot of guts, I think. They say no guts, no glory, but you obviously, and we said you didn't have a lot of fear because you knew I guess you know how to manage fear. I guess you put it that way.
I guess so. It's fear keeps you alive. That's just how you deal with it.
And then you take your talents to being a fireman and helping other people, which is also admirable. That you have that part of your personality is I want to help somebody, and that's
it.
That's a cool thing. And I won't say this to many people, but I think your dad's a pretty cool guy too. And I think he raised a fine young man too.
Well, thank you.
And again, thanks for coming on the show. And if you ever do decide to jump back on a bull, let us know. We'd love to be there and watch your mom and dad.
I think my mom would probably disown me.
I know it would be hard for her to take you getting back on there. She'd say, we went through this one time, Josh.
Right.
I'm not going to go through it again.
Right.
But wait till the grandkids come along and they got to go through the whole thing again.
That's it. We got a little niece. It's going to be turning 2 in November. I'm trying to get her on some sheep before too long.
She's well beyond the age of getting ready for it.
That's it.
That would be great.
She's got 2 more years.
2 more years. Well, that's going to just about wrap up our time slot. Again, thank you, Josh. It's been a pleasure to listen to some of your stories, and we wish you success as a fireman. I know you're passionate about that also, and it's always interesting to see when athletes outgrow or whatever their sport, what they decide to do with their life, and you've chosen a great career path, and we wish you all the luck in it.
Well, thank you, and thank y'all for having me.
Thank you, Josh.
It was a blast.
We'll take a short break. We'll come back to talk about our next show.
Hi, this is Alec Hodges, voice of the Winston-Salem Dash, and you're listening to TriadSportsCoverage.com.
Is your business going to die alone? Never meet the customers of its dreams? Just sit on the couch crying into a carton of ice cream while other businesses are out there thriving? New Expression can help. Without the right marketing, you're a wallflower. Without a great website, you're not going to turn heads. And without social media, you don't even have a friend to tell people what a great personality you have. New Expression can give your business a total brand makeover and get you out there, attracting customers. It used to be about who had the biggest ad in the phone book. Today, customers hit the web to locate and research before they call. If Google isn't steering customers to your site or they're not impressed by what they see, you're missing out. New Expression does web design and can provide a free analysis to see how your site stacks up against the competition. Don't have time to constantly update social media? Want cool custom apps and graphics? New Expression can help there too. From print design to mobile marketing to online presence to brand identity, New Expression can help you express yourself. Find out more at nuexpression.com.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, here at Bibbs Downtown in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, where the barbecue is not Eastern.
It's not Western.
It's Western. I got it right this time.
Hey, she got it right. That last commercial from New Expression, I want to give a shout out to the fine folks at New Expression. They designed our website 3 years ago.
Yes.
And they've also designed a website for the Quarter Midget Association in Salisbury. And Brian and his group over there are just very talented people in the world of web design and social media. So we feel.
And we're getting a signal from Donnie.
And Brian and his lovely wife just had a newborn. And Donnie's wife, I noticed on Facebook, actually babysat, I think, over the weekend with the new baby. Now, what was that? You make it?
Yeah, he made this sign. Sorry, guys, I was laughing because he made this sign that was a girl.
A little girl.
For those of you who are here.
We're playing charades, I guess. So that means
Donnie
it's a
likes
girl.
to play charades during our show.
Okay. But we we really had a great time tonight with the bull rider. It's the first time I've ever talked to a bull rider.
Me too. That was a lot of fun.
And,
that was a really cool show.
And some of the things that he talked about would I guess want me to play badminton instead of ride a bull.
That should be our next
Live show?
Next live show.
I'm kind of scared to do that. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'm gonna hide.
We're gonna do.
I don't like bulls that are called body bag and.
What about Fluffy?
Yeah, okay. If all the bulls out there are named Fluffy, I'll come.
I don't have anything to do with the bull. What did he say? The small one is 1,200 pounds.
Yeah.
God.
No, I think
scares me.
Yeah, I mean, I like watching them on TV because they cut away from all the gory things, and you don't have to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. I can change it when it gets bad.
Yeah. Well, we are wrapping up another show. We're in the process of putting together our fall schedule. Yes. As we mentioned, we're going to do some Salem College athletics.
Yes.
We're going to do some Glen High School football and some Winston-Salem Christian School. Probably that'll start in November when basketball season starts. But
Alex playing charades too, people.
Charades.
He wants to do.
We like charades on this show.
And we will be making some announcements in the coming probably few days or a week or two about what our schedule is going to be. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of ideas we've kicked around, and we're just we also want to say that we really appreciate Bibbs Downtown. We've had such a great relationship with this great establishment here with Robert and of course Pig Daddy Little, who did a football game for us. It's been.
And shout out to Pig Daddy, by the way. It is his anniversary this week. And he's actually in Tennessee right now. So
cool. That's great.
Yeah, I was talking. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was talking to Dale earlier while I was eating. I said, "Man, this brings back memories about football when he used to bring us barbecue sandwiches and the big tray of hush puppies."
Yeah, it was great when he was going to be a commentator in a football game.
Oh, yeah. We wanted him on the show every week.
you just keep bringing the food.
You can smell that truck drive up in the parking lot, and everybody from the press box is over there looking. What's he bringing this time? What's he bringing this time?
Can we have some?
So definitely, we'll have to get him back up to another Glen football game here.
Absolutely.
So we're going to, like I said, we're going to be making an announcement about next week's show in the coming weeks. We've got a lot of things in the works. But we are going to be on the air tomorrow night for the quarter midget race in Salisbury.
Yep.
At around 6 to 6:15 with Mr. Sam Hatfield, the lap-by-lap expert commentator, turn by turn, flip over by flip over, or wreck by wreck, whatever.
Hey, I heard they had a pretty awesome race in Georgia this weekend.
They had the Southeast Regional, and the drivers from NCQMA did their share of winning. Levi Riffle actually won a race. And, of course, he is sponsored by Team Dillon Racing.
That's right.
Ty Dillon won the race in Indianapolis. So it was a great day for Team Dillon Racing and for Riffle Brothers Racing. So
that's right.
And one of the sponsors of Riffle Brothers Racing is?
Triad Sports Coverage. I got that one right, too.
Yeah.
Do I get extra points today? I'm like on fire.
Well, extra points. No, this is not a classroom. We don't give extra points.
Can I have a happy sticker?
Yeah, we got some of those somewhere. So stay tuned to social media, and we will make some announcements as to what our next broadcast is going to be and what day it's going to be, because we're really in the middle of seasons here. Mm-hmm. High school hasn't started yet, and there's not a whole lot of activity unless you're a race fan going on as far as what we would cover. So we're kind of in limbo right now as to what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, and our producer is making all kinds of signals about.
He's still playing charades
about whatever he's playing. But anyway, we're going to sign off tonight because it's getting late and
it's getting past Mike's bedtime.
It is. So for Alec Hodges and Ellen Richardson and Donnie Baldridge, Rachel's lesser half. We're going to sign off until tomorrow night. I'll be back on the air with Sam Hatfield. So until then, thank you for joining us.
Adios.
Thanks for listening to this week's edition of Sports Talk on Triad Sports Coverage. For more great podcasts, check out the media page on triadsportscoverage.com.